Hey, what's going on YouTube? Neil here, Pentatonic Way, and today I'm going to show you how to jam over this backing track in G. Hot and groovy backing track. Pretty cool tune using minor pentatonics and dominant pentatonics, all right? So the main jam for this is G minor 7 to C7. So it's like... All right, you can play it all sorts of places, right? You got a G minor here, and then a funky place to play it. That's probably the coolest place to play it, all right? So if you're gonna play G minor, start on your D string, you got 8, 7, 8. That's your flat 7, your 5, wait, no, that's your minor third, your 5, and your 1. And then what you do is take that middle string and move it up 2 frets. So you have 8, 9, 8. So now that flat 3 becomes your flat 7. That what was your 5 moves up to the 3 of C. And then your 5, this, which was your root, now is your 5th. I don't know how Tomo Fujito, you know that guy? He does that like cool triplet funky strums. He's a funky dude. Anyway, those are the chords for the A section. So for the G minor pentatonic, you can use your G minor pentatonic. So that's your first shape starting on the 3rd fret. And that's what I was using in a lot of the jam. All the other shapes too. 2nd shape, 3rd shape, 4th shape. I use that a lot. And then 5th shape. And I went to the 1st shape again here. But I could have done a lot more, I suppose, in my jam. My example jam that I just recorded. So then for the C7, we're gonna use the C dominant 7th. Hold on, let me just take a sip of coffee here. We're just hanging out, just talking guitar, drinking coffee. So yeah, C dominant pentatonic, which is your root, your 2nd, major 3rd, your 5th, and then your flat 7. Usually with the major pentatonic, you get a 6th. But if you move that up a fret, you get a flat 7. So in this case, if we're doing it down here, near that 1st shape, you just take the 1st shape of the minor pentatonic and move that down to the 2nd fret there. That's an easy way to remember the dominant pentatonic. So I'll go through every note here. So you got 3, 5, 3, wait, sorry man, 3, 6, 3, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 6. So you can see that note's different. Instead of being here, like, and then down here you got that note, right? So by highlighting those notes in your riffs and your licks and your phrases and stuff, that's going to bring out the sound of that dominant pentatonic. So let me see. I can try to jam with the track here. Hopefully the mix is good. So there's a G, C7, G minor, C7. So there's the B section. We'll get into that in a sec. But yeah, you hear how that goes. So you So if I can like you know, it's kind of heavy-handed, but if I hit those notes that change between the two shapes right when that C7 hits, sounds sick. I mean, that's, you know, my opinion anyway, but that it makes it sound like it goes to that C7, you know, so instead of and the same thing is when it goes back to the G minor, maybe then you could really highlight that change. And cool. And then move, you know, shapes. There's 5 of those dominant pentatonic shapes too. I was doing it up here a lot too. So if you have your G minor up here, there's your G, right? On the 10th fret of the A string. So that means that you can use the 4th shape of the pentatonic right there, and that's G minor. Now, the dominant shape is a little weird there. That's the 2nd shape of the dominant. It's not my favorite, but I was using it today to kind of get used to it. You know what I mean? Like, just because it's not my favorite doesn't mean I don't want to use it. So in this case, it's going to be 10, 12, 10, 13, 10, 12, then 9, 12, 11, 13, 10, 12. So it's, I don't like it because it's kind of all over the place. You know? But I don't know. It's worth using. So we'll be switching between the 4th shape and the 5th shape. So let me just roll the track back a scooch. See? So those notes there. So I try to do maybe some motifs, some ideas. If I stumble across something, I'm like, oh, that's kind of catchy. I try to play it again and just adjust the notes. So it was like, I like those sort of cascading trail offs, but that's the idea, right? So that's the main section, G minor to G7, C7, and I like those voicings. I think for a lot of funk stuff that works if you have like the outside notes stay the same. That way you can get that. That's still there the whole time. You could even do that, right? So you bring that up to your, what is that? The flat 7. So that's kind of cool. Man, I'm going off the rails here with this lesson, but anyway, that's cool voicing. So you get G minor here, C7, and then keeping those 2 outside notes the same, keep going up. Now you have your flat 7 here. So you get all right, cool. So there's the A section. Now, let's check out the B section. Right, it has E minor, E flat major 7. So that could be 6, 8, 7, 8. And then it goes to D7, which is a cool change. Yep. And then you have G minor 7 to that C7. So it's just walking down E flat, G, C. No, it's not walking down. Sorry. D, E flat, D, G, C. That's your root motion. So you got G minor, back to that C7. So if we're going to go with that sort of idea, right? E7, E flat major 7 and G7 share these same 3 notes. So you could just play that. And then to go to D7, move everything down a fret and then move this down a fret. So you end up with 7, 5, 7. There's your D7. I put on the little squawking thing for rhythm. And then it goes back up to G minor 7 and then to the C. So for the B section, you got hold on. That's pretty cool, but every time I do it, I have to end on an up. And when I want to do it down, so maybe if I start. just sit there while I work out my shit. Sorry. Maybe that's how he does it. Starting on an up. Anyway, all right. So E flat major 7. Well, you could play the second shape of the pentatonic, which ends up being the major pentatonic, right? So that would be 11, 13, 10, 13, 10, 13, and 10, 12. 11, 13, 11, 13. And that sounds pretty good. But if you want to pull out the 7-ish, the 7 part of it, instead of playing 11, 13 down here, you could replace the root with the 7. So in that case, you're playing, what are you playing? The 4th shape of the pentatonic. Which is the same thing we're playing for the G minor pentatonic down here. And then for the D7, in that area, you'd play the first shape of the dominant pentatonic. So this is it here. Starts on D, that's your 10th fret. So you got 10, 12, 9, 12, 10, 12, 9, 11, 10, 13, 10, 12. You know, so that's for your D7, which is here. Then back to G minor 7 and C7, right? So G minor 7 was the 4th shape, and C7 is that second shape of the dominant pentatonic that we already went over. All right. So yeah, let me see if I can jam over that part when it comes around. G7. Here comes the E again. Yeah, so it does it twice. It comes around fast. I don't know if I like using the G or that fourth shape over the E, because I really want to like hit that root to kind of, so you can hear in my licks that it changes. You know what I mean? Like if I just stay with that same scale I was using on G minor, I didn't really feel that change. It wasn't as like dramatic. Let's see. Let me go back a bit. Like it's not very dramatic in the track. So here maybe? All right. Yeah, because if I highlight the G, if I highlight the seventh, the major seventh of E there, like, and then it goes down to D, and you don't feel like, much has changed. But if I do this, if I'm playing the E major pentatonic, E flat major pentatonic, sorry, you really hear it's dramatic. Like if I play the seventh and the root, something like that. This is getting really long. I'll put the link for this track down below so you can like jam on it and try it out. If you like this sort of stuff, check out my website, pentatonicway.com. This is what we talk about, finding our way through backing tracks and improvising the pentatonic way, right? Anyway, it was great to chat with you, and I hope you have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.